I'm hoping so. Looks like everything is good to go. We are going to be loading in any moment now. So I am ready now. I'm ready for it. I hope you are. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, I just hope that Steam please, just please let us race. Just have it work for, an hour 15 minutes. That's all we need. That's all we need. After that, you can just go completely dead for the next 4 hours. I don't care, but just keep it up for this next hour and 15 minutes max, and we will be sweet. We'll be good to go. But once again, all these drivers just picking their tire allocation for this event, whether it's between those four sets of soft compound tires to really go for that aggressive push in qualifying, or maybe that aggressive two-stop strategy in the race as well, Stars, because we haven't really talked about that one. The two-stop at Bahrain isn't the worst thing in the world. There is a large lap delta between the softs and the mediums, and using those two sets of soft compound tires, if you're able to have the pace and get some clean air, maybe even some DRS and slipstream as well to help you move your way up the field, the two-stop is actually a viable strategy choice around here.
Yeah, look, it is. It is. I personally feel like you have to be extremely quick, and you need a little bit of luck with safety cars or VSCs. I personally don't think anyone who does do the two-stop can effectively win the race if, say, someone who started in the top 5 is doing the soft to hard, and the two-stopper gets no luck. I can't see it because, I mean, yeah, you're doing, 80k through the pit lane, but it's a long pit lane, and it's, I don't know. I just personally wouldn't do it. Obviously, it depends in the moment. Safety cars could come out at that prime time for you to give it a go, but then, yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. It's a tricky one for sure.
Oh, it definitely is. But we finally have some cars out on the track, Stars, and I just absolutely cannot wait to see what these drivers will do. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, where have you been for the past 40 minutes? But aside from that, welcome. We are just starting, unbelievably, but thankfully, we are now underway with MRL Season 4, Round number 2, here at the Bahrain International Circuit for the Americas Division. My name is Mikhail. Joining me is my fellow countrymen all the way down from the land down under, Stars, and we are absolutely ecstatic to see some cars out there on the track.
It's been a while. It certainly has, and ironically, it's a paper copy. We've got Jack 5 leading the train.
Yes, so one
As our
hot lap
first car
wasn't
in the
enough
McLaren.
for him.
No. He likes that screen time, so hopefully he does a little bit better than his 127, and obviously he's had a bit more time to improve now. So
He sort of knows around the benchmark, what these other drivers on this grid are capable of. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, Jack 5 in that McLaren, reserving for C-Joss, will take us around a lap of the Bahrain International Circuit. So down this main straight, braking just as the curbing starts on that left-hand side, down into second gear, all the way from 335 kilometers an hour, and then up through the gears through turns 2 and 3. Very, very hard to get the power down, and there's very, very little grip in that section of the track. Up the hill now into turn 4, 100-meter board, down into third gear, clipping the apex curve just a little bit there, and make sure you let the car just drift out wide just to try and find the grip on that outer side of the track. And then through the fast-flowing section of 5, 6, and 7, out the hard braking zone down into turn 8. Again, missing that apex there. So definitely a little bit of time to find there, does the McLaren driver. But now into the hardest braking zone of turns 9 and 10, down the second gear. Apex speed, I should say, of about 76 kilometers an hour. But up through the gears he goes once again on the third and final DRS zone of the lap, braking just before that 50, maybe about 70-ish meters away, and he actually runs super, super wide at the exit of turn 11. So keeping it nice and tidy there. Go through 12, careful not to touch the inside curb there. And then into turn 13, he goes a little bit wide there, but the game is very, very forgiving on this occasion, keeping that lap valid thus far. And now just 2 more corners to go. One singular braking zone for turns 14 and 15 up through the gears once again, Stars. What's the time going to be? DRS open, and across the line, it's a 1:26.6, so half a second improvement from his first banker attempt. But looking at the other times that are coming through, now Angel just 300ths off of Jack's time on the medium compound tires, and Becky B once again setting a 25.1 as his opening lap time.
yeah, I mean, just class, isn't it? Realistically, at the end of the day, I was on board with. Sorry, is it Angel or
Angel. Angel. In
Angel?
that, yep.
Angel, sorry, Angel. Yeah, I was on board with him. He was pretty much matching his or matching Jack 5's times, but am on board with Stryfium as he does cross the line for his first flying lap. Goes into P9 once again. Paper copy today, Macau. I'm telling you. With a 126.9. So we do have a few drivers who have completed laps right now. We do have a couple more who are on there flying. We do have Larkinio coming through, or starting of Sector 3, sorry. He is in the Alfa Romeo. Will be coming up to turn 14. He's on the braking zone. So does take the car out nice and wide, opens up the corner, and pretty good traction, I might add, with DRS wide open. Let's see where he puts himself. Does move himself up into P8, 126.3. So it is already starting to look like a pretty close grid.
Yes, BTFU in the middle of all that actually does take that provisional pole position, does the AlphaTauri, with a 1 minute 25.093. So just 4 hundredths of a second, Stars. 4 hundredths of a second between himself and Becky B. So it's already shaping up to be a very, very competitive grid. And like we were saying in that little pre-show, while we were getting the second lobby set up, Alex Yamamoto, in that second Williams car, is now currently sitting in 4th position, right behind his teammate on the grid. So a very, very strong outing for the Williams duo so far.
Yeah, 100%. You've got to be happy with that. Claire back at home will be loving that. Obviously from a backseat point of view at the moment, unfortunately. But well done to the Williams drivers. Hopefully they can continue to improve. I do believe it is going to be a very close qualifying session. My prediction was, because I think last week P1 to P9 was split between 4 tenths. So I think it's going to be very much the same round here. Fingers crossed anyway.
Certainly hope so. Currently riding on board with S-King as he's making his way around the track on his outlap. No drivers currently on the flying lap at the moment, I do believe. All of them setting their first times of the session for that banker time, in case something were to happen a bit later in the session. But, we still have that little bit of track evolution as well to boot. But I'm very, very curious as to what the Chilean S-King can do in this second AlphaTauri car. His teammate currently on that provisional pole position with a 1 minute 25.0, and he's actually lost it at the final corner, or the second last corner, technically. But that last sort of real braking zone, the last real corner, as I'd like to call it. And that is going to abort his lap before he even starts at Stars.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy there. He's going to come back into the pits. He's only got 2 runs now, so we're going to have to wait and see. But obviously we've got Cappy from the Red Bull team starting his lap, his first flying lap. Let's see what he can do. Obviously DRS wide open as he goes down into turn 1. Does use a bit of that exit curb there quite nicely. Does turn the car. Does get a little bit of wheel spin there through turn 1 and through turn 2. Does take it quite nicely though. Does try to keep the straight line. At the moment it does look okay. Doesn't look terrible. Does take the car nice and wide there. Does hit the apex. Brings the car through turn 4 nicely, into turn 5, through turn 6. Is a little bit crazy with the gears. Is a bit up and down there. Will cost him a little bit of time. Doesn't lock up the front right there for turn 8, which is nice. Does kind of hit the apex. Gets himself set up for turn 9 into the heavy braking zone of turn 10, where, oh god, those front lefts not going to be enjoying their self during the race. But needless to say, good traction out of turn 10. DRS wide open. Here we go into turn 11. Does touch that inside curb there. I don't like to touch that personally, but it seems to work for him. Does open up the corner for turn 12, stays away from the inside curb, very smart. Apparently it's a purple middle sector. We shall see if that is the case when he gets towards the end of the race. End of lap. Rhapsody does move over to the right hand side of the track, doesn't compromise him at all. Cappy, as he takes the second last corner, turn 14 through turn 15. Up through the gears, DRS wide open. Where does it put him? Goes to P9. So not a bad lap there as his first one. His banker lap for this session of a 126.4. Not bad, not bad.
No, we also had a look at Tactical Logic as he said his first lap as Cappy was starting his with a 1 minute 26.47. So 200s between those guys there in a right smack bang in the middle of that grid so far. Now riding on board with the Mercedes of Rhapsody, who we saw getting out of the way for Cappy on that previous run. He's actually still out on these medium compound tires, Stars. So I do believe this is his second run on the mediums. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
It is.
Yeah, so he's doing a second run on these mediums, and it's a very interesting choice. A very, very interesting choice considering how tight the grid does seem to be at this point in time. I might actually change that to best. So yeah, that 1 minute 26.997. He did start on those medium compact tires. He's making his way now into turn 11. We'll ride now, go back on the onboard as he makes his way through the fast turns of 11 and 12 stars.
Yes, as he comes through, does take a lot of that inside curve, does bring the car out nice and wide there. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if he does improve. I mean, he should improve. Obviously, track evolution, but obviously tyre wear as well. So, I mean, it kind of levels itself out a little bit. Hopefully, he does improve, though. He does want to get up there from P16, especially in the Merc. He does, goes to P13. It's not going to be good enough, though. He's not going to be happy, especially after the P3 he took at Australia.
Yeah, we'll now ride on board with his teammate, Egg, as he makes his way into the third and final sector of the lap. Missing the apex slightly of 13, but he's able to keep the power down through the corner, and that's what's important, Stars, just to keep that power on as much as you can for these long straights that are very, very characteristic of the Bahrain International Circuit. But through the final two corners, he goes now, DRS open as he crosses the line. What's the time going to be? A 1 minute 27.742, so that actually will keep him in 18th place, so not the best opening lap from the Mercedes. We'll now jump back onto S-King, who's the only other driver.
He's flying.
He is absolutely flying.
It's flying. This is looking awesome.
What's the time going to be as he crosses the line? It's second place by 1,000th of a second between the two AlphaTauris, and that is S-King there, right next to his teammate on the front row of the grid with a 1 minute 25.094. Oh my goodness.
Wow. This is shaping up to be something special, Mick.
Oh, it most definitely is. Most definitely is. We'll say BTFU, he actually isn't currently on a lap. I see one of the Mercedes there in the final sector. I do believe that would be Rhapsody making his way into the pit lane. So we'll jump on board with one of these Haas's. It looks like it is Axis, currently sitting in that 6th place, making his way through the end of Sector 2 on his next flying lap attempt with 6.5 minutes left to go in the session. He's half a tenth up, and in a grid as tight as this Stars, this is looking like it could jump him up into 5th place, but maybe not quite enough to jump back in deep. But we'll see how he goes through these final two corners. There is a lot of time to make up in these two corners, at least from my personal experience of the track. But DRS open now. He actually runs out of deployment super early, and it will be enough to jump Maxime B, but that's about it. He will get that 5th place on the grid with a 1 minute 25.330.
Yeah, good lap by him there. He's going to be happy. An improvement is an improvement, so well done to Axis there, sir. Do just have a few drivers who are coming into the pit lane here, which could spell disaster for Sector 3. Most of them are running out of fuel, actually.
All the drivers are trying to get that car as light as possible, and I do believe that we saw some idiot join the session, a very fast driver that these guys will definitely need to be afraid of. He is of course the leader of the Pirates, which is our fancy little name for the reserves that we have this season, because reserves, they don't score points for their constructor that they are reserved for. They score for their own sort of team there, seeing how many points they can steal from all of the full-time drivers this series. And so a little bit of an element of fun in this one. But we're now currently riding on board with the current championship leader, Becky B, as he makes his way into turns 9 and 10 Stars.
Yes, Becky B. Obviously, he's going to want to improve there. It does get a little bit sideways coming out of turn 10 there. He's not going to be happy with that too much. But anyway, into turn 11, does take the car out nice and wide there. Does look very solid, Does get a little bit sideways again, but I mean, it's oversteer is quick, and he is quick. He's quick. 10th and a half up. This is looking like a very promising lap. This is gonna put him right in the mix, right in the hunt. This is currently it's on provisional pole. See if he gets through 14 and 15 cleanly. Does look nice, very nice indeed. This is going to be provisional pole, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling it now. There it is, a 124.9, the first driver to get into the 24s.
Yes, certainly a statement from the current championship leader. The first driver to break into that sub 1 minute 25 barrier. And we'll see if any other drivers are able to, well, beat him. You know, that's the aim of the game right here for that that coveted pole position, Stars. Very, very excited.
Everyone wants pole, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, so now we're going to jump on board to one of the Renault drivers now. Aphrodite, currently sitting in 12th place as he's making his way through turns 11 and 12 on his next flying lap of the session. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Misfits Racing League broadcast of the Americas division for round number 2 here in Bahrain. My name is Mikhail, joining me alongside my fellow countrymen, Stars, and we're just 3.5 minutes left in this qualifying session to determine the grid ahead of this 29 lap race. Yeah, I do believe it's 29 laps, but Aphrodite improves by nearly 5/10 Stars, putting himself all the way up from 12th into that 8th place with a 1 minute 25.70 run. Very, very nice effort from the Renault driver indeed.
Yes, indeed. I'm just having a look through at the moment. A few drivers are coming into the pit now, getting ready for that final run. Only 3 minutes left on the clock, ladies and gentlemen, so we're getting to crunch time. This is where the drivers are going to be trying to cash in those checks, working hard for that team.
We'll now ride on board with the Alfa Romeo of Larkino, making his way through turns 9 and 10 at the moment. Currently, the lead Alfa Romeo Sauber car, with a 1 minute 26.396 on those red rim soft compound tyres. We'll see what he's able to do as he makes his way into turns 11 and 12. Avoiding that outside curbing at the exit of 11, and then through turn 12, keeping it nice and straight. You want to put in as little steering input as possible through that corner. Then now into 13. It was a little bit tentative there on the throttle, but he's able to keep it nice and tidy. And then just one more braking zone to go, Stars. The final 2 corners, he goes a little bit deep onto that exit curb, and he's lost the car slightly, and he's actually in the wall. Oh my goodness, and that is, he's out? No, that's simply, and Holt actually have had an issue at what appears to be turn 4, and we're riding on board BTFU. That is a massive, massive accident between those two. So not entirely sure what happened there, but that looked like it was a nasty, nasty crash at turn 4, Stars.
Yeah, that wasn't a good one as well, as our provisional pole driver retires from the session. He believes he can't improve. Yeah, I was on board with Striff at that one at turn 4 there. It looked nasty. I believe we had a slow car and a quick car, and they got in the way, and yeah, well, I mean, you said the rest, unfortunately. So that's not what you want to see, especially when the boys are down towards the bottom of the grid there, obviously wanting one more lap to improve, but is what it is. Yep, I was just about to say it.
Yeah, Striffy, he was on for a decent improvement, in fact, about 2.5 tenths, and he just runs super, super wide at the exit of turn 12. So very, very unfortunate for the Ferrari driver. He will, I think, stay in that 18th place with only 45 seconds to go, and yeah, he's heading into the pits. So unfortunately for him, that is the best that the Ferrari driver can hope for. Let's see what his teammate can do. The founder of the Misfits community, it is, of course, Zamis himself, making his way through that final DRS zone, Stars, into turns 11 and 12.
Indeed. He is up on his time by roughly about 2 tenths. That was through sector 1. Let's see what the split is. He's up by 7 tenths. 7 tenths. This is quick. This is going to be quick. If he holds this together and continues the last 2 corners as how he's been going from the start of the lap, this is going to be right up there. He does take the car out nice and wide, brings the car in, hits that perfectly. Beautiful. That is as good as you can get. DRS wide open. This is going towards the top, and it is P6. Well done, Zamis. Very good lap. 7/10 improvement towards 8/10.
Yeah, looks like Zamis there, slotting himself into 6th place with 1 minute 25.283 as the checkered flag has now dropped for the qualifying session. So all these drivers will be able to finish the laps they are currently on, but that will be it. Axis will actually jump the Ferrari by 0.5 tenth into that 6th place with a 1 minute 25.239. Now, I think that's one of the Red Bulls. That's going to be Cappy next to cross the line. Does he improve? Yes, he does, by nearly 2 tenths up to 13th place with a 1 minute 26.265. We now look to the lead AlphaTauri BTFU. He's got a purple middle sector apparently, Stars. And knowing BTFU, he loves this track a lot. He clips the apex curb there at the final corner, but let's see, what's the time going to be? Is he able to match Becky B? No, he's not. He's able to improve, but not enough. Will now jump on board with his teammate as Maxime B comes across the line to take that 5th place with a 1 minute 25.130. But now all eyes on this second AlphaTauri car making his way through the final 2 corners. Can he find that 2/10 that he needs to beat Becky B and take that provisional pole, or that pole position? And he does. He improves by 3/10 to a 1 minute 24.797.
What a lap. What a lap. Unbelievable work there. AlphaTauris are going to be very happy. Unfortunately, that does conclude qualifying. We do have Yama, who did not make it to the line. All cars are now done and dusted, but what a lap there, Mick. I think that's as good as you're going to get, isn't it? Really.
I mean, yeah, play it by the numbers, Alan Prost style, you don't need to go all guns a-blazing. You just need to beat your competition. And S King, the Chilean, in that AlphaTauri car has done exactly that. A 1 minute 24.7. Just amazing, amazing, amazing job. I might be a little bit biased here because I myself am an AlphaTauri driver, but a very, very astounding lap from the Chilean. So S King will be lining up in that pole position. Becky B, the current championship leader, will line up right alongside him, just over a 10th off of the AlphaTauri. BTFU in the other AlphaTauri car will be lining up on that second row with a 1 minute 25.004, and Angel in his first race of the season will line up alongside him in that 4th place in that Racing Point. Maxime B doing another solid outing for the McLaren squad. He will start in 5th. Alex Yamamoto in the second Williams car will start 6th on that 3rd row. Axis for the Haas in 7th. Zamis for the Scuderia in 8th. Aphrodite in 9th. And Jay Fasai will round off the top 10 in this one. And we will, of course, go down the rest of this grid in the formation lap. But Stars, what a session that we have just witnessed. And if the race is anything like we just saw in qualifying, man, oh man, the wait is certainly going to be worth it.
I definitely think you are right there, sir. That was unbelievable. That was quick. That was enjoyable. Very entertaining. Unfortunately, we did have a couple of drivers who unfortunately had to retire early. Is always disappointing to see, I'm afraid. But that lap there by S King, my goodness, he is going to be one happy man. Now it all just comes down to this. Comes down to the start. You've got one lap, formation lap behind. To just lead it. Think about it, compose yourself. It's a decent run down to turn 1. I mean, it's definitely not one of the smallest runs. And obviously, as we've seen historically, there has always been some tangles going into turn 1, I'm afraid. But yeah, look, I think it's going to be a really good race. I think it's going to be a great race. I think it's going to be, my predictions are very, very heavy DRS train forming. I think maybe the top 7 will run away with that. And then it's going to be a very, very tight midfield.
Oh, absolutely. I cannot agree with you more, Stars. There is one driver, though, that I think everyone needs to keep their eye on, both on the grid and off the grid. I certainly have my eyes on him, and it is that Red Bull in 20th position, that some idiot. And despite what the name might suggest, he is a very, very smart cookie, especially when it comes to his driving and his strategy. And we're just going to have a quick look at the tyres as we go through the back 10 of this grid. So tactical logic on the medium compound tyres will be starting in 11th. Jack 5, that reserved for McLaren, he'll be starting 12th on the hards as, on that white-walled hard compound tyre. Cappy there in 13th for the Red Bull squad. Rhapsody in 14th for the Mercedes. Larkino and Holter, 2 Alfa Romeos, lining up 15th and 16th. Simply for the Racing Point in 17th. Striffium in 18th. Goziek 19th. And Some Idiot in 20th. Now, if any of you are familiar with Some Idiot, you know that he is quick. And he is able to make some moves that you wouldn't otherwise expect from really any other driver on this grid. So be sure to keep a close eye on that Red Bull, because he may as well complete the last of first challenge and just steal this race win ahead from, away from the front runners. But looking at these strategies from the back 10, Stars, what are you thinking? There's a big mix in this back 10.
Yeah, there is. I'm a bit confused by 17, 18, 19 with simply Striff and Gorzik starting on the soft tyre there. Unless they're doing something different and maybe trying to do the 2-stop. I don't know. I don't think that's a good choice. The drivers which I'm going to keep an eye on: Jack 5, Rhapsody, Lakino, Holtz, and of course some idiot starting on the hard tyre. I think the hard to medium is definitely the optimal tyre strategy around Bahrain for sure. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. Some idiot, like you just mentioned, doesn't get wing damage, doesn't get in any dramas. He's going to be finishing top 3. Calling it now.
Oh yeah, now top
Write me
3.
down.
Top 3 for the Red Bull reserve. Of course, he will not be scoring points for that Red Bull, so he'll be scoring points for that all feared Pirate squad, which is the name given to the reserves here. But if you're just joining us, welcome to Misfits Racing League Season 4 America's Division Action. My name is Mikhail. Joining me is Stars, and we are just ahead of the start of the second round in the championship, the Bahrain GP. And we are proud to say that we now partnered with the Next Level Racing !NLR in the chat. But looking at the grid, we have now 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights ahead of the drivers for round number 2 here in Bahrain. Stars. It's lights out and away we go. Looks like it's been a pretty decent start from S-King off the start of the grid. Looks like BTFU actually now trying to make his way alongside. It's now, I see one of the Williams now. I think that's Yama going all the way down the inside into turn 1. There is a lot of jostling for position at the moment as we make our way a bit further down the grid. Currently looking at Zamas down in P9. He's making his way past the Haas of Axis up into turn 4. Is he able to make a move on Astrolite as well? No, not quite. But looking a bit further down this grid into the back 10. Looks like there's actually a yellow flag. There's been an issue with one of the cars. No, I don't see anyone really off, but running on board with some idiot now in 17th. There is a lot of traffic here on this start, but crucially, it looks like that top 5 have gotten away very cleanly as some idiot now making his way around the outside of turner. He's gotten past the Alfa Romeo of Lakino. Can he make his way past Zamas as well? There's actually another yellow flag. Lakino's had a spin at turn 8, so very unfortunate for him, but somebody now make his way down the inside of turn 10 on Zamas, but he isn't quite able to make that move stick, and Maxime B ahead of them into 13th, having a drag race now with Jay Fasai as well, but so far quite a clean first lap. A little bit of a spin there for Lakino, but aside from that, no major issues, as there's actually a tap now with Jay Fasai and Maxime B in this fight for 12th place. Stars, and unbelievable that they are both able to keep that car in a straight line, but it looks like a very good start from S-King, BTFU having a decent start there, but Angel in that racing quad has been able to slingshot his way all the way up into 2nd place.
Yeah, what a start there. Everyone keeping it nice and clean. I think we only lost a little end plate off one of the drivers. I don't seem to know who it was, but it's towards the back of the grid there. Unfortunately though, Jack 5, not a start that he wanted, as we do have a couple of people already into the pit lane. So we've got Jay Fasai and Cappy in. So it looks like one of their drivers, looks like the Red Bull driver. Yep, that was the one who got the wing damage. As we're 3 wide going into turn 1 there, Strift does get a little bit sideways there, does lose out to some idiot there, as that was a move. He's moving himself up through the grid. Well done to some idiot. Hopefully he continues this run.
Some idiot now all the way up from 20th into 15th after the opening lap of this race, but currently your top 10 are as follows. So it will be S-King making his way into the turn 9 and 10 hairpin there, with Angel close behind him in that race. But actually 1 second gap already, but BTFU is under a lot of pressure from Becky B and the Williams behind him. We're now riding on board with the Williams driver. Unable to quite make that move just yet. He's sticking very close to the back of that AlphaTauri car, but behind him is his teammate and the other Williams, Alex Yamamoto. And they are both pulling away significantly from the Haas of Axis in 6th place, but a decent gap back to Aphrodite as well in 7th, Rhapsody in 8th, Maxime B in 9th, and Tactical Logic will round off your top 10 at the end of this second lap. And
that's it. We're tied. We're tied in the midfield here. We've got Holtz and Zamas. Zamas is right on him, and they've got some idiot with Simply right behind. We've got about 5 drivers battling for this. Oh, and Zamas, beautiful exit here. He's going to get him. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to get Holtz here going into turn 1. Well done. Great traction out of that one. And obviously we've got some idiot who's about to overtake Simply as well. That's 2 positions. Or 2 positions he's gained now. Oh god, he's going for a dive into turn 1 here. But he does back out of it, thank goodness. And they are side by side into turn 2 here. Oh, luckily we keep it clean, no touching. Well done to both drivers there. Very good racing.
Yes, a very nice move there from both Zamas and some idiot. Zamas using that overtake button to full effect to get past the Alfa Romeo. And now some idiot will be the next trying to get past the Alfa Romeo driver. He's actually, I think he's on a little bit of a tap there, looks like, from Simply in that racing point, but luckily no damage. between either of those drivers, but simply actually looking for a move up the inside, trying to make these softs work as much as he can, but can he get the traction that he needs out of that corner? No, not quite. Summit will pull away ahead for now. There's actually yet another tap between those two. And that little bit of a mistake has actually opened the door for Striffium in the other Ferrari, down in 15th place in the moment, trying to make those softs work as well. He will have that DRS on the racing point, but he's unable to really get close enough to make a move just yet. Stars.
Yeah, 100%. He's going to be right all over him once they get into the back straights here. He's just holding his time, biding his time. But at the front there, I just want to point out, S-King has gotten the gap over 1 second there. He has got the gap, so Angel does not have DRS, I believe. So that's great work for S-King there. Great start there. Obviously, we're back on board with this battle at the back here. Some Idiot does go very wide there. Striffium doesn't have a great exit, so I don't think everyone's going to be holding stations. But Some Idiot does still somehow get past Holtz there with the. Oh, he does have DRS. Don't forget about that. And nicely done going to turn 1. Well done.
Yeah, we also saw him move for that final podium place as well. As you were talking about the battle at the back, there's actually another yellow flag. That's one of the Ferraris. It's Striffium. Striffium is around at turn 3, and oh no, we saw it last week in Australia. We've seen it again. The Spinella back in full force again for the Scuderia, but hopefully he's got. I don't really see any damage on that front wing star, so hopefully he's able to continue on. But that is certainly a knock to his confidence.
Yeah, it was all done by himself, I'm afraid. Just the traction zone, a bit too much on the power too early, and yeah, the car goes.
Yeah, but Some Idiot, man, in this Red Bull, already up into 12th place, and we're not even 5 laps into this race. He is showing why he is a driver to be feared, and in that charging bull, it is an Albon's car, so take that as you will. He will be rocking that number 23 for this race, but his driving is certainly very, very aggressive, very, very calculated as well. He's actually getting very, very close to the back of that McLaren of Maxime B, using a bit of that overtake, and you could just see the speed out of that Red Bull car using that overtake mode, and he's actually going to get it done before the second to last corner. Looks like Maxime trying to hang it around the inside for the time being. Maxime in that McLaren will get the DRS as he actually makes his way into the pits, and he actually does have wing damage. So not quite sure where he picked that one up, Stars, but that is very, very unfortunate there for the McLaren driver.
Yes, indeed. That's not what he wants. It'd be interesting to see what tyre he does go on to. I'll keep an eye on that one. He has gone onto the medium tyres, but he's got a full wing change, so he's going to be right out of the picture, I believe, unless another safety car comes out.
Just saw Gauzier get past the Alfa Romeo of Holtz. Again, another one of those soft runners in the back 10, trying to use the extra grip available for these opening few laps to try and make some easy positions. But just have a quick look back at the front end of this grid. Yama is closing up to the back of BTFU, and BTFU is actually just hanging on to that 1 second DRS gap that he needs to stay with those front 3. So BTFU seems to be really struggling in this opening stage of the race, just trying to preserve the life of the tires maybe. But these top 5 are really, really locked in combat at the moment. It's like S-King does have that 1.2 second gap, so he is out of DRS range of the racing point of Angel behind him. But the same can't be said about his teammate though. BTFU only 2.5 tenths between himself and Yama in the Williams behind him as we start lap 6 of 29 in this race. The overtake mode, the DRS is also enabled for the Williams driver. Up the inside he goes into turn 1. He manages to get the car stopped in time, and he will make that move cleanly. But BTFU, can he get the run that he needs with the switchback? He actually won't, because he was in front at the DRS detection point. So Yama will hold that DRS again into turn 4, and that is a move done for the Williams. So now the Williams squad looking like they are in a very, very strong position with that P3 and P4 stars.
Yeah, indeed. They just got to make sure that they don't get in each other's way, especially when it comes to the pit stops. They're both on the same tyre strategy, so someone's going to have to do an extra lap. Might cost them, might not. But I was just on board with Some Idiot. I tell you what, he's going very quick. He's flying, so he just improving every single sector. Last 2 laps I've been on board with him now. He is very quick. So himself and Rhapsody there on those hard compound tyres, definitely looking like they could be doing some damage. Rhapsody up 6 positions, I might just add. Some Idiot 9. So they're our race movers so far. Maxime has lost 13, and Jay Fasai has lost 10.
And we did have a few early pitches in this race for a little bit of damage in the first couple of laps, but now riding on board with the Red Bull reserve driver, some idiot now, as he's eyeing up his next victim in that charging Bull Star. It is Tactical Logic in that Renault, and if any of you have seen the Drive to Survive, you know in real life the tensions between Red Bull and Renault over the past couple of years. But some idiot now, he's making his way, eyeing up the Renault. You can just see the speed that he gets out of that last corner. The pit window is now open for, apparently. But I don't know how much I believe that graphic. But what is certain is that somebody in that Red Bull does have a massive lockup actually on that front left. But he has made that move done cleanly into turn 1. And that is the Red Bull driver now up into 9th place. As there's actually another tussle between the other Renault and Axis. It looks like Astride, he's had a little bit of an issue at turn 4 and Axis now. He's holding on to that 6th place. But the time that they spend fighting stars is just more time that these hard runners behind him are just going to keep catching and catching and catching. That gap is going to slowly dwindle down, and before you know it, he's going to have a black arrow right in his rear view mirrors.
Yeah, not wrong there. Tyres are pretty much done and dusted now. This is the point where you kind of need to stretch them just a little bit more. You're not going to get anywhere near the performance that you would at the start of the race. So obviously, their battling is just going to cost them big time. I think they're losing about 2/10 every couple of corners to Rhapsody behind. But obviously, they're still very close, only 3/10 in it. Just whether or not who's going to have the better run. Just on a side note, I did see Zamis come into the pit lane quite early for medium, so I do believe he's doing the 2-stop strategy. Keep an eye on Zamis. He was starting in our 10th, so it'll be interesting to see where he ends up there. Obviously, Astro there a bit sideways. He comes into the pit lane. Okay, so he's making it early. He's going for the undercut. I don't know what he's going to go on to. Hards can make it from here. I'm assuming he's going to go on to them, but he's going to have to look after them during the back end of this race heavily.
Yeah, he really is going to need to look after those hard compound tyres. We just see him there in the pit lane. He's probably going to exit out maybe 15th, 16th in between the Ferraris. Actually, another Ferrari. That's Stryfium into the pits as well, so he's going to get off of those soft compound tyres. But back at the front of this grid, looks like that 1.2, 1.3 second gap that S-King had at the start of the stint has completely evaporated. He's now only got a 6/10 advantage on the racing point behind him, and Becky B basically has the exact same gap between himself and the Mexican in that racing point. So best to keep your eye on this front three, because the DRS train here is in full force at the moment. Looks like Yama and BTFU falling just a little bit behind of the front three runners at the moment, but both of those guys certainly have the pace to catch up if they so choose. But I think they're just trying to nurse their tires a little bit more to make sure that they are able to make the most of those hards when it counts.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Unfortunately, I don't think they've got the pace right at the moment. They're both very low on ERS, having said that Becky's on 60%, so barely used anything. Oh, as the front two do come into the pit lane, this is Becky's chance here. He does have DRS. He does have a lot of ERS as well. I think he's going to try and go for the overcut here, and I think it's going to play into his hands, because S-King and Angel, my predictions, are going to be coming out in traffic.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on this track map as we jump back a little bit to the Renault of Aphrodite, who's eyeing up the AI car of Larkino. Secret Larkino has a little bit of a disconnect there. Hopefully he's able to get an invite back into the lobby very, very soon. But it is the Renault driver now making his way past, and as you were saying, yes, looks like S-King has actually just gotten ahead of the traffic now. He just slotted himself right between, the traffic there, but S-King, fortunately for him, he's able to have at least a little bit of clean air, as he's now chasing down the race point of Simply. But yeah, Aphrodite able to make his way past the AI car of Larkino. Looks like Striff as well is able to make it past Cabby. There's actually a very, very nice fight here between the back three now. Striffium goes for a massive, massive dive into the first corner. He's able to get the car stopped in time, but he is still side by side with the Haas driver, making their way through turns 2 and 3. He will have the overtake mode and the DRS on. Actually, both him and the Red Bull of Cappy will have that DRS. Cappy now making his way past the Haas as well, and what a move from Striffium.
Yeah, well done to Striffium there. He's going to be very happy. The winner of the late break is there, I think, as we do have Becky B, who came into the pits and he used a lot of ERS that lap. So my prediction's exactly whether or not the overcut does work. I don't think he's going to jump S-King, but I definitely think he's got a good chance of getting Angel, because Angel and Yama got caught up through the whole of Sector 2 and pretty much most of Sector 3 behind Gorziak on those old hards.
Will now ride on board
Sorry,
with the AlphaTauri of S-King, and yes, he has made his way past Becky B. Where does Becky B come out? He will actually come out, yes, you are right, Stars, he has come out ahead of that racing point. So we saw a nice move from Angel to get past Gorziak finally in the final 2 corners, but it's not quite enough. And now he has the other Williams of Yamamoto right on his rear. The 2 Mexicans now having a little bit of a duel in the desert as they make their way into turn 4. A massive lock up there for the Williams on that front right-hand tire. But he's able to make that move past his fellow countryman. And that is the Williams now up into 6th place, but provisionally a net podium place. So very well done from him.
Yeah, that's it. You know, obviously those two were coming in. He knew that he could do the overcut. He had the ERS in hand, and yeah, well played to Becky there. He's going to be very happy. He does have pace as well, so I think this battle in the front is going to get very juicy because he is within DRS now. So they do have a 2-point-second gap over Yama, so it's just going to be the front two battling it out at the moment.
Yeah, so a little bit of gaps starting to form on this grid at the moment. Currently, we're looking at one of the closer gaps on track. That is the battle between the 2 Mexicans in 6th and 7th. But it looks like actually Axis in the 13th in that Haas is getting extremely close to the back of that Alfa Romeo Larkino. And Zamus on that 2-stop strategy, we think he pitted very early off of those softs onto those mediums, and those mediums definitely aren't making it to the end, Stars. So I think he has committed to that 2-stop strategy, and he's eyeing up these two drivers as well. But Axis now has that overtake DRS. You can just see the speed from the resources that he is burning up, and he is going to get cleanly ahead of the Alfa Romeo even before the braking zone starts. So amazing move. Now that Haas is up into 12th place.
Yeah, nice work there. He is on the fresh tyres as well, so he should just pull away quite easily from Larkinio. I'm just on board with some idiot. He has closed the 3.7 gap to Rhapsody. He is now within DRS. He only has 30%, and Rhapsody has 48% ERS here, so he had to use a little bit to get within this DRS stage of Rhapsody. But I mean, if these two don't battle too hard, this could be a pretty good overcut, obviously, with the different tyre strategy to the front runners.
Well, he has shown in this first stint that he certainly has the pace on the harder compound of tyres to side his way through the field. Who knows what he's going to be like when he puts on a fresh set of mediums, or hell, maybe even a fresh set of softs if he's able to make those hards last that long. And knowing Summit, he definitely has that in his capabilities, in his skill set. It looks like Rhapsody, he's trying to break the toe a little bit, but some idiot actually doesn't bite for it. Just using that DRS to stay close to the back of that Mercedes. And he won't be making a move right now. It looks like tactical logic of those medium tyres has come into the pits, and Becky B has managed to claw his way back into that half a second gap for that DRS from that AlphaTauri. So he is another one to look out for. He's been showing incredible pace in this race so far. He might have missed out the battle for that pole position between himself and the Chilean, but he certainly is putting up a much stronger fight here in the race, Stars.
Yeah, 100%. He's looking good. I was just on board with Zamis here on that predicted 2-stop tyre strategy. Did just get the move done nice and easy past Jack at the moment, but he needs to obviously push hard because he is pitting again, and everyone who is in front of him, apart from Holtz and our top 2, aren't pitting. So he needs to do some work, and he needs to do some work quick.
Yes, that 2-stop definitely is going to put the American under some pressure, really forcing him to make some moves that maybe he might not always make, take a few more risks to try and mitigate that track position loss. But we actually do see another exchange between Holtz and Aphrodite there into turn 11. Aphrodite on those fresher hard compound tires is going to make his way through for that 8th position. But looks like in the battle for the net lead of the race at the moment, Becky B is still catching this AlphaTauri. He has that DRS. He's not using any of the overtake, and it doesn't look like he's actually even in rich mix at the moment, actually putting it down into lean for this first sequence of corners, but he's still just under that 4/10 gap, so he's doing very well to save his resources and really think about his approach, think about his attack in the next few laps, hopefully.
Yeah, 100%. I was just on board with both drivers there. Just before you mentioned it, just for the viewers on hand here, both drivers are very, very smart. They're both running lean, especially through the tighter corners, but also they're not using ERS at all on the straight. S-King was not trying to defend one bit, so they know they're pulling away from Yama. Yama's used a lot of his ERS. They're pulling away, they're building the gap. They want it just to be... all they want is they just want a battle between them two. So this is going to start heading up towards the latter stages of the race, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how the gap has been traveling between those three and the front two as of yet. I don't know if they're actually still gaining on Rhapsody and Some Idiot. They probably are.
But it was only 6/10 in the last 3 laps that they made up.
Yeah, so Some Idiot and Rhapsody actually on these worn hards are showing incredible pace at the moment. Just using that DRS to pull each other along. Some Idiot just using that Mercedes to save his resources, but yeah, he's actually got a run now on the Mercedes. He's going to go for the move down into the first corner. Yet another lockup on that front left tire, but he's gotten the move done. Does Rhapsody have a response coming up the hill? He's using that overtake. He won't have that DRS. Some Idiot was still behind at that detection point, so he was able to get that rear wing open, so maybe pull yet just another, maybe another tenth or two, but that is all that you need. And that is Some Idiot now into the lead of this race. And my goodness, now he can stretch his legs. This is scary.
That's it, clean air now. Let's see what he's all about. I was just watching the McLaren drivers. Team orders came in there. Jack 5 moved over to the right. Maxime got through on that on those medium tyres. He must also be on the 2-stop because he did pit early for a new front wing.
Now going to jump back to the tail end of the grid. Jay Fasai looking for a move around the outside of Striffy, but this amazing switchback through turn 1, but it really doesn't help him out too much for turn 2. He is very, very close. He's not using any of his battery stars, but even with the DRS and the slipstream, he's gaining on the Ferrari. He decides to pull out of that one, but he forces Striff into a mistake. Striffy goes super, super deep into turn 4. He's actually still riding on that curve. Careful there, Striffium. But the Ferrari is able to hold on to that position for now, but Jeff Forsyth is certainly putting the Ferrari driver under a lot of pressure at the moment.
Yeah, their battle's costing them though. They're losing time to Gauzier up ahead, so I mean it's great for us, not so great for them, I'm afraid. I'm just on board at the moment with Zamis, who is catching Axis. He needs to get this move done. He needs to get this move done quickly. Simple as that. He needs to get this DRS. He only has a 17% ERS, whereas Axis does have a little bit more. Axis isn't within DRS of Holtz in front of him, so Zamis is going to start clawing his way back in now. Hopefully he has a good run through 1 and 2 to set him up for the overtake at turn 4. Does get the car turned in nicely. Good traction. Little bit gentle though on that throttle there. He won't be getting the move done into turn 4, but like I said, if he's going to make this 2-stop tyre strategy work, he needs to put in some work here, as Axis goes very close to Holtz in front, nearly making contact. So this midfield battle is really heating up.
Yeah, we just saw an amazing move as well from the Canadian of Maxime B, currently in that, well, he was in 13th place. He's now up into 12th, past again the Alfa Romeo of Larkin. It looks like we're showing a lot of drivers overtaking that Alfa Romeo, but he's still out on those old hard combat tires. There's actually an exchange now between S-King and Becky B up at the front. Sorry we missed that one, ladies and gentlemen, but Becky B has now just made it past the AlphaTauri of S-King, and they both have basically about the same amount of battery. Becky B just slightly less than the AlphaTauri driver, but yeah, that was a big move, and Becky B, he's already pulled out 6/10 on the Alfa Romeo driver, so it definitely looks like that the AlphaTauri was holding him up just slightly. With that DRS, S-King is going to be able to close that gap back by about 1/10.5. But Becky B, what a move through turns 11 and 12.
Yeah, battle. Very nicely done there.
There's another battle going on. Axis. The other Williams with Yama and Arnhill as well. Axis and Holtz also having a bit of an exchange as well. So just cut you off there, Stars. But looks like Arnhill and Yama just having yet another exchange. And BTFU is very close behind them as well. Jack 5 also picking up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's one that no one wants to receive on their heads-up display. But Arnhill holding at that 5th position for now. And the question really is at this point, aside from all of these pockets of drivers, who's going to do, be ahead of who? is when are these hard runners start? When are these hard runners going to pit, and what tires are they going to go on? Because I'm certainly curious. Some idiot, he's pulled 2 seconds on Rhapsody in the past few laps alone. So I am very, very scared if he decides to stick it out a little bit more, continue with this pace on the hard, and put on a fresh set of softs at the end.
Yeah, look, I think if he's running this far in, he's not going to be going on to mediums, that's for sure. I think both drivers are going to be going onto those soft tyres. I think Rhapsody's losing a fair bit of time now. I think he should have probably pitted maybe 2 laps ago and tried to get onto those medium compound tyres. He is just losing time now to both Summit and also Becky B is closing the gap very quickly indeed. So, I don't know. It's I think somebody's in a pretty good position. I think Becky B is going to be struggling. Rhapsody is going to be struggling very quickly. So, going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. That's for sure.
Now riding back on board in this battle for 9th place, Zamis. He's now caught up to the back of Axis. He has that DRS, only 6% battery left in the tank, but using that DRS slipstream and probably a bit of rich mix as well. He's made his way cleanly before the apex, or the braking zone I should say, of turn 1. And that is the Ferrari back up into the points, but he still has another stop to do. So I really don't know if this 2-stop has paid out for the Ferrari driver.
No, it isn't. He's back to where he started. Like I said, he's going to need a bit of luck. Maybe a VSC at the right time, maybe a safety car, who knows. He's just holding on now.
He's holding on as best as he can. We'll jump up now in this battle between the Mexicans and BCFU lurking close behind. It is, of course, the battle for 5th place at the moment. But it is a net P3 once these front 2 have pit. And speaking of those front 2, they actually are losing a fair bit of time to Becky B and S King behind. So if they are wanting to go on those medium compact tires, they better do it soon. I think that you are right, Stars, that they will be pitting for those soft compact tires in maybe a lap or two's time. But they certainly are losing a lot of time to the leaders. But Yama, 4.5 tenths is the gap between himself and Angel in that racing point. He has barely any battery left. BTFU is sitting around 30%, as is Angel, also around that 30% mark. But Yama is using that overtake. He goes for a late lunge down the inside of turn 1 on the racing point. The Mexican Angel, he has to concede now for the time being. Yama will have that DRS again heading up the hill, but is it going to be enough with the overtake? BTFU just is sitting back there with the popcorn now. Angel has a little bit of a look into turn 4, but he isn't quite able to make that dive, and Yama will take that 5th place at the moment. And a very, very aggressive move there from the Williams driver.
Paid off though, didn't it? Paid off. Well done to Yama there. He is showing a bit of pace here. It's gonna be interesting to see whether he does pull away from Angel. Obviously BTFU, like you said, was just sitting in prime position, has barely used any ERS in the last couple of laps, so now he's caught up. He does have a big advantage over these 2 runners ahead. At the moment, most of the drivers are spread out quite nicely here. There are a couple of battles where Axis is close to Zamis, but I don't think he's going to be catching him anytime soon. I think Zamis is going to be coming into the pits within the next 2 laps, that's for sure, for the soft compound tyres. Jay Fasai still holding on to Striffim at the back there, but apart from that, everyone's just cruising at the moment. Probably just trying to conserve tyre wear, conserve a bit of ERS, get ready for these last 10 or so laps. This is when it's going to get very interesting.
Well, Submedia, the leader of this race on those 18-lap-old hard combat tyres, has now started lap 19 of 29 in this race. If you're just joining us, this is the Misfits Racing League broadcast of the Americas division for round number 2 in Bahrain. My name is Mikhail, and joining me is Stars, and we want to thank our partners over at Next Level Racing for help for supporting the Misfits Racing League. Currently, 19 laps into this race. Some idiot does lead it on those starting hard compact tires. Rhapsody in second, but Becky B is the lead driver who has already made their pit stop, but close behind him is that Chilean of S King in that Alpha Tauri. So, and he's actually saved up a lot of battery. You can see there on your screen right now. Becky B, he's using a bit of that overtake to try and catch up to Rhapsody, just get in that 1 second DRS rate so he can hopefully save a bit of his battery, and he's going to need to, because at 35% he is at only half of the storage or the energy power that Esking has. Esking's sitting at about 75% Stars, so he is definitely setting himself up for a last few laps, I should say. Not really a last lap attack, but the last few laps or so, I'll say.
Yeah, 100% here. I think Becky B is going to get DRS on Rhapsody here, so at least he can probably maintain effective the lead of the race for another lap at least. But I think S King, he's doing a smart strategy. He's holding on at the moment, just relaxing as our front two do come into the pits. It will be the soft compound tyres for both drivers. It's whether or not they can get back through this field and hopefully put themselves in a really good position here. But I mean, they're gonna be quick, that's for sure. There's gonna be some fast laps come through here, but yeah, S King, back to S King. He needs to probably make the move quick because Becky B's gonna catch on to him.
I think he might have heard you, Stars. He's looking for it. He's looking for it around the outside into turn 4. The two leaders going side by side through the brakes of Becky B, squeezing him all the way towards the curbing and doing everything that he can to keep that Alpha Terrier behind him, and he puts up a valiant defense. And it is good enough for the time being. S King is so close to the back of this Williams at the moment, Stars, but he just can't find that way past, at least on this occasion.
No, I think he'll be just holding in the slipstream, holding it all in, just going, okay, that's all good, that's all right, I can get him again, I've got the pace. So as he doesn't use any overtake, that's it, he's just conserving a little bit more. Obviously, like I said, it's pretty much double ERS difference here, so I mean, this is going to start heating up real quick.
I just had a little look at the gap to leader, and Some Idiot is only, well, I say only, but he is 15 seconds off these two at the run. There's actually been an issue at turn 1. I think that's Striffium yet again. Oh no, I don't know if he's come together with somebody there at the corner, but he is around and he has lost a bucket load of time there. But yeah, as I was saying, Some Idiot now, we just take yet another look at that gap to leader. Now down to 14.7 seconds in 9 laps. Definitely a tall order, but if anyone can do it, I think Some Idiot has the pace to do it on those fresh softs. He will be setting the timing sheets alight in just a few moments' time, and we'll see how far he is able to make his way up this field. But meanwhile, back at this battle for the lead of this race, looks like S King isn't going to quite mount a challenge on this occasion. And we have another DRS train for this final podium place as well, Stars. As we have a lovely helicopter shot of BTFU who's watching this action. There's actually a yellow flag for some reason at turn 5. Not quite sure why that was there. But I think it might have actually had something to do with S King, because he is now 2.3 seconds behind Becky B.
Yes, he did. He made a mistake coming through turn 5, turn 6, hit a bit too much curb, lost the balance of the car and did go off track. He didn't spin, it was just he had to get out of the throttle, and like I said, he's lost 2.3 seconds, and this for Some Idiot, he is flying. This is going to be a fastest lap, ladies and gentlemen. He is pushing this car as we have a sector 1. It's a Mercedes. It's gauzy egg on those old hard compound tires. Like we said, you got to be very careful towards the latter end of the stint on those tires. It's very easy to lose traction. So I think he did it all by himself. There was no one around him, as Some Idiot is 1.8 seconds up on his time through sector 2. He is clawing off 7/10 every 3 corners. I think Macau, he's in it here. He is in for that top 3, like I said, but if Becky B manages just to forget about S King and pull away, he might be able to do it, but S King, I think, is in a world of trouble.
Yeah, S King, he is starting to find his rhythm again. He's been able to close that gap by 2/10, but with only, 8 laps to go, he's going to need a little bit more than that, as we see his teammate now, BTFU, actually have a little bit of a look around the outside of Arnhel heading into turn 4. These 3 for the final podium place at the moment, just locked in combat, but I don't know if that's the best thing for these guys, Stars, because the longer that they keep fighting, that gap between themselves and that flying Red Bull of Some Idiot is just going to get lower and lower and lower. We saw it at about 7 seconds just a lap ago. It's now down to 4.8. So this Red Bull is out for blood. He is really, just pushing with everything that he's got. He's using that ERS. He's using... I seriously have no idea what's going on with Streamlabs. I'll hopefully try and get that sorted for the next round. But we are back with only a handful of laps to go here in Bahrain for the MRL Season 4 Round 2 of the Americas Division. Becky B still about 2 seconds away from S King there, his closest rival there in that second place. Yama about 3.5 seconds behind him for that final podium spot, but there is a charging Red Bull, Stars, of Some Idiot making his way closer and closer and closer. I have to say it 3 times because he's just catching that quickly.
He is indeed. He is just clawing the time off, and these 3, they're not exactly fighting, but they're compromising each other at the moment. They're close enough to be compromising. They're having to use more ERS, defend more, as we see it right on the main straight now. BTFU 3/10, 2/10 behind Angel. Angel pretty much out of ERS. Oh, Angel goes, he backs out of it. He's smart play there, smart play. Now BTFU opens up the corner here. He's going to have a far better run through turn 1, through turn 2. Does get the DRS once more, but it doesn't look like he's close enough. So again, like I said, they're compromising each other. It's only going to help some idiot in the long run. S-King is closing the gap slightly, but I think that mistake there has cost him the race win today.
Yeah, he's able to claw back a few tenths here and there, but it certainly isn't enough to really challenge for that race win. But it looks like that these guys are actually starting to come up to a little bit of traffic. I do believe that is Cappy and Stryphium there, who have been lapped by the 2 leaders. Now Yama making his way closer and closer to them as we actually have a battle in this lower end of the midfield between Holt and Maxine B. Maxine B with those fresh, soft compound tires, able to easily make his way past Holt in that Alfa Romeo. So a very, very nicely done from him there.
Not bad, but guess who's in DRS, Mick?
Oh no, don't tell me.
It's that charging bull that we're talking about. He does only have 14% ERS, but he's a lot quicker than these guys. So BTFU, watch out, son, because some idiot is coming, and he is coming quick.
Oh, you can just
as they go onto the main straight. Here it is.
Here we go. Here's the snake for everyone just trying to get that slipstream. Somebody it down to 5%, but you can see those red lights flashing. That does mean that they are below 10% battery, so all these guys pushing as much as they can. Cappy, the Red Bull lap car, getting the way slightly of Angel. That might compromise his run from BTFU, but not just from him. It might be from some idiot as well. Angel goes to the right-hand side. These guys are all fighting for position. This is for the 4th place on the podium. There's 3 wide.
Oh, look at
these guys. A bit of contact there. Somebody onto the curbing. And oh my goodness, that very well done from him to get that car back under control. But they're still going side by side through the S section. And somebody has that inside line for turn 8. BTFU trying to hold it around the outside. There he goes there in that AlphaTauri. But the traction out of those softs, just the sheer grip from those red-walled soft compound tires is going to do enough. Is it BTFU? He's still trying to make his way, hold it around the inside of that corner, but it isn't going to be enough. And some idiot is now up into 4th. Oh my goodness, what a battle.
What a battle that one was there. 2 wide through the majority of Sector 2, where we were set at the start of the race. It's only single file. But you know who has worked out because of this? Yama. He's pulled that little bit of a gap there. You know, some of its tyres aren't going to be working to the prime as they were at the start of the stint. So this might hold on Yama for a podium. He's going to be wanting it bad, especially after that week 1 performance that we spoke about earlier on.
Yes, but that gap has already gone down to 1.8. Just the grip on those softs is just absolutely broken. Summit will also have DRS off the lap car of Stryphium, so hopefully he's able to get out of the way fairly soon and not really impede any of these drivers coming through. Yes, he does. He gets well out of the way. Bit scary there for BTFU coming back onto the track, but he gets out of the way for some idiot. And that's the important one, because we're all just seeing how far up this grid can this Red Bull make it. He's made it all the way up into 4th. He has now 5 lap-old soft compound tires. The gap is just under a second already to the other waves of Yama. And oh my goodness, there's also another exchange, it seems, between Zamis and Simply down in 11th place. But all eyes are firmly sealed on this Red Bull as he's now eyeing up Yama. 7.5 tenths now, Stars. He is absolutely flying. It looks like tire degradation for the Red Bull is non-existent.
Yeah, no, not at all. We do have a bit of graining happening on Yama's tyres at the moment on the outside, especially for those fronts. They are taking a pounding around the Bahrain International Circuit. Look, I think some idiot's going to make this move done going into turn 1, if not beforehand. Because, yeah, like you said, he is quick, he is flying. It's just a crazy difference, the tyre compounds between each other. Obviously, you've got the hardest and you've got the softest. I mean, it's just showing. It's just showing this race, that's for sure. Zamis, quick check back on him really quickly. He is up to P11 on that 2-stop strategy. I believe he's going to be missing out on points though today.
You hate to see it from the founder of the Misfits, but some idiot now, easy as you like, using a bit of overtake and that DRS and slipstream to make his way up into that top 3, but 4.5 seconds with 3 laps to go. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it any further, but we'll see. S-King has been able to claw at least some time back to Becky B, but again, it isn't quite enough. There's actually a Ferrari round again in the background. I think that is Stryfium having yet another spin at the exit of turn 3, so very, very unfortunate for him. And yeah, it's certainly a race to forget for the Scuderia.
Yes, definitely. It's gone bad to worse here. There's going to be a big debrief happening after this race here.
Maxim B going side by side with Simply. They're having a drag race down the main straight in this battle for 12th place. There might not be any points on the line, but certainly bragging rights, as I like to call them. And yes, there he goes. The McLaren easily passed that racing point on those 5-lap-old soft compound tires. So the softs really starting to phase in quite well. Some idiot showing, well, being the living proof of that, but Maxim as well, making up loads and loads of time there. I think he's actually about to catch up to Zamis as well, who's also on those soft compound tires of the Red Bull off. That's not some idiot, that's Cappy there at turn 11.
He has lost a fair bit of his wing as well, I'm afraid, so he has gotten on the power too early on those, I wouldn't say old hard compound tires, and hit the wall, I'm afraid. So that's his race done and dusted for today, I believe.
Yeah, but we are now, of course, on the penultimate lap of this race, ladies and gentlemen. Only 2 laps to go. Becky B, currently your race leader, with a 2.3 second gap back to S-King in that AlphaTauri, and then the charging Red Bull only 3 seconds behind of Summit, who started last on this grid, opting to go for that hard to soft tyre strategy, and he has shown incredible pace as well. We just have a quick look. I don't think we need to take any guesses as to who has the fastest lap at the moment, and it is some idiot there with that 1 minute 27.619. Cappy there retiring in the pit lane. You hate to see it, but yeah, certainly a race to forget for that Red Bull driver, but his teammate for this event, some idiot, is certainly having a thrilling race.
He does indeed. Obviously, yeah, Christian's going to be happy, but also upset there. Cappy goes, he just actually walked right past the commentary booth. He is going back to the motor van, so he's not a happy kid one bit whatsoever. But the Red Bull, the other side of the garage here, is going to be very happy indeed. I don't believe he's going to catch second, but what a performance. What a performance from him today.
Yeah, unfortunately, not really any drivers within that 1 second DRS range. Currently, the closest gap is that battle between the 2 Alfa Romeos, so we'll keep an eye on that one. But Becky B, he's been able to pull out yet another about, what's that, 7 tenths on S-King behind him. And just what a drive, yet again, from this Williams. He's shown that he has the patience and the composure. It's certainly learnt a lot from that last season in Tier 1. You know, racing against those guys. Lots of very quick European guys out there. But here in the Americas split, he has shown that he has learnt about, you know, keeping calm, keeping composed. He didn't get that pole position that he would have probably been hoping for, but he certainly has demonstrated his racecraft and his race consistency throughout these past 28 laps. Now on the 29th and final lap of this race. What a drive from Becky B thus far, Swells.
Unbelievable, just sensational drive today by Becky. He's, you know, there was a few people who said, oh, you know, he's, I mean, he won the first round. Can he do it again? You know, is this possible? I mean, he's just proven all his critics wrong. You know, it's 2 from 2. Unbelievable performance today by the Williams driver. Obviously, he's just taking it nice and easy now, just enjoying the last lap. There's no pressure on him whatsoever. Just a class above, as some idiot has managed to get within that 1 second time of S-King. I don't think he's going to be able to mount a charge though.
Yeah, well, Becky B, as he rounds the final 2 corners now, the fireworks are about to go off here. It is the American, the Williams driver, crossing the line, and he will take the 2nd win of the season here in Bahrain. S-King will come across the line in 2nd, and some idiot there, reserving for the Red Bull. What a drive from him. He will come across the line in 3rd place to round off the podium finishes. Yamamoto there in 4th place in the 2nd Williams car, and BCFU right behind him there in the other AlphaTauri in 5th place. It will be 6th place for the Mexican Angel in that Racing Point. Rhapsody comes across the line in 7th for the Mercedes crew. Aphrodite in 8th, Axis in 9th, and it looks like Zamis...
I have eaten my words.
Zamis will be picking up a single point if he's able to keep it nice and tight. And yes, he does. You can see the fireworks there in the sky. And the Scuderia will pick up one singular point as courtesy of Zamas. What a drive there with that two-stop to even salvage that point. That was a lot of effort there. But well done to all of our points finishes there. Unfortunate for those guys just outside the points. Technical Logic, what a fantastic drive from the other Renault driver. He will come across the line in 11th place. Maxime B in 12th place. Holt in 13th. Simply in 14th. Larkino in 15th. Jack 5 in 16th in that other McLaren seat. Gorzieg in 17th for the Mercedes. Ajay Fasai in 18th, and Strifium, the only driver to finish a lap down. And of course, Cappy there retiring in the pits just a few laps from the end. But what a show we just witnessed, Stars. I'm just blown away by all of the racing. Well done from all of these guys today.
Oh, it was unbelievable. As we can see on the screen right now, it's some idiot driver of the day. Unbelievable. Well deserved there by him. Just beautiful drive today. A lot of close battles there. Like I said, I think the highlight of the race was when we saw the 2 wide through sector 2 there with BTFU. Obviously going into turn 4 there, it was nearly 3 wide at one stage, but what a race by all drivers. Kept it clean. Hardly had any incidents. Obviously, we did have, the retirement, as you mentioned before, which is always, sad to see. Always want to try and see every driver finish, but it is what it is. And I think, it just goes up to its name there, the Bahrain International Circuit, because it was just sensational once again.
Yeah, so Becky B making it 2 from 2 here in the first couple of opening rounds here in the Americas division. He will take his second win of the season thus far. S King yet again finishing runner-up in this one, just behind the Williams driver. And some idiot there is the Red Bull Racing reserve driver from 20th on the grid, will collect that final place on the podium, as well as that fastest lap, a 1:27.619. Yamamoto there for the Williams squad will pick up 4th place. A great comeback from him after the first round in Australia. BTFU in 5th, Angel in 6th, Rhapsody in 7th, Astrodite in 8th, Axis 9th, Zamis in 10th. We'll round off the top 10, and we have a look at the back 10 now. It'll be Tactical Logic, Maxim B, Holtz, Simply, so 4 Canadians from 11th to 14th there. Larkino, Jack 5 in 15th and 16th, Gorzieg in 17th, Jay Fasai in 18th, and Strifium and Cappy will round off the back 2. And we'll just have a quick look at the race director here. Not a lot of incidents to speak of, a couple of penalties here and there, but a very clean race from most of these drivers here today. But Stars, just run us through that race. That was a lot of action all over the place. We saw action at the front of the grid, in the middle of the grid, and at the rear. So I'm sure all these drivers, just like we have here in the commentary booth, have enjoyed that one immensely.
Yeah, I think that was one of the better races that I've watched, especially for the MRL and America's division, that's for sure. Obviously, the battling at the back there was Cappy and Striff going at it so many times. Jack Fasai was, amongst it as well, which is great to see battling towards the rear of the grid. In the midfield there, it was tight. You got Zamis on the 2 stops tyre strategy, working his way back through the field, manages to catch Tactical Logic on the last lap, gets it done going into turn 10. It was a beautiful move as well. Had to mount the curb a little bit, but got it done nice and cleanly. And then obviously you had, towards the front end, you had BTFU, Angel, Yama, always battling for the majority of the race. They did compromise themselves a little bit, like I said, helped some idiots race out, that's for sure. He caught up to them. And then obviously at the front there, I am wanting to have a chat with S King later on, because I want him to run us through that mistake that he made, which ultimately cost him the race win here today. But hats off to Becky B. Unbelievable performance.
Yes, a very strong performance indeed from the American, making it 2 wins from 2 to start off the season. And Stars, that is probably the best way to start off your campaign heading into this 3rd round. Surely if you're Becky B, you got to be feeling really confident heading into this 3rd round.
Definitely. Class above today. Obviously raced very well last week. I think it won by, it was 3 seconds or something. So again, it wasn't tight. Like tight, it was still like they were there, but I definitely think his confidence levels are going to be sky high. All he needs to do is obviously have a good qualifying result, as he did, today, and just let the race play out. I think that's all he can do. So I mean, hats off to him. Like I said before, I think he's definitely someone to to watch out for at the moment. He's the hot favourite to take out the division, that's for sure. Even if it's so early in the stage, he's showing a lot of potential.
He certainly is. But now we'll start off the interviews with the third place man, as I dubbed the leader of the Pirates, some idiot, mate, from 20th on the grid, starting on those hards. What a drive, mate. Just run us through your race, how it felt like, just siding your way left, right, up the middle, wherever you wanted, you could overtake, really, it looked like on that circuit today, especially on those softs towards the end. Just run us through your race and how you feel about that podium finish here tonight.
Yes, sir. That was a heck of a race, I have to say. I haven't had that much fun in a league race in quite a while. I'll admit. Like that's why I wanted to do that strategy because it's like it puts on a show. Would you agree? You guys agree that was a show, wasn't it?
I certainly agree.
100%.
I certainly agree, and I'm pretty
It
sure
was
everyone in the
beautiful.
chat does as well. That was absolutely incredible. Just seeing you just, make moves that, you wouldn't really expect. We saw that sort of three wide moment there on the sauce between yourself, Angel, and I believe it was BTFU at the time as well, going through that section of track. Just unbelievable, unbelievable racing. But yeah, just what a performance today. But one question I did want to ask you, about those hard stints. How was it on those opening few laps? Because obviously, starting at the back of the grid, there's a lot of cars in front of you. You're an experienced league racer. You know how turn one and turn four at Bahrain can go. Just what was your mindset on those opening few laps on those hards?
Protect the wing at all cost. I got myself. I was actually surprised with the launch I got. I think I got up to about 16th before turn one, made up 4 spots. I was surprised I even jumped a couple of the soft runners. I was expecting to have to fight that pretty hard, but once we got into turn one, I thought, okay, I'm making some moves. I might be able to sneak into the upper top 10 by the end of lap one, but then we had a big stack up on the apex of turn one, had to basically go to a crawl. We had cars making a lot of contact. I mean, the biggest what if for me there was how hard everyone was fighting lap one. We lost almost a pit stop in the first before once all the soft to hard pitters they ran out their strategy. It was just really biggest thing was just keeping the wing clean, try to make positions as you could because every position you make up early on is big for the end of the race. And I just wish I had made up a spot or two more because I was just trying to get through the soft and medium starters with the hards. And that, I mean, the hard is 2 seconds slower for a reason. If I'm or 1.5, excuse me, not 2, 1.5 seconds slower for a reason. But it's just trying to make everything you can without trying to win the race lap one. Of course, that's the biggest thing. And like, I mean, I'm happy about that race, man. I had so much fun. I wish I could expound that even more than I am right now.
Just one more from me before I hand it over to Stars to see if he has any questions. Did the hard to medium ever cross your mind at all, or was it always just that hard to soft from the beginning? Because we saw both you and Rhapsody, who I believe did the same strategy as yourself, lose quite a lot of time at the end of those hard stints. We saw on the timing tower that that the likes of S King and Becky B were catching you guys at a rate of knots in those last few laps on those hard compound tires. So was the hard to medium ever an option for you, or were you like dead set, I'm going hard to soft no matter what?
I'll give you a quick synopsis of my mind was as long as I'm still matching the leaders, the people on the soft hard, I was going to stay out as long as I could. And for me, it seemed like we were about running their pace for the majority of the stint. Also, in my mind was I didn't want to let Rhapsody undercut me with the soft. If he was going to go to medium, I was going to let him. I wanted to go. I really preferred the hard soft. If we had a safety car or VSC, I would have done hard medium, of course. If it was like past laps or before lap 16, between lap 10 and lap 16, I would have gone medium. But after lap 17, definitely softs, and I was just waiting for Rhapsody to pit, so I would pit the lap after him, so I wouldn't get undercut. But we both ran to lap 19, and I still felt like there was pace in the tires. If I wasn't about to risk a puncture, I would have gone further, to be honest with you, because the people I was racing for the last podium spot, I was matching them. I felt like I was actually matching the pace of Yama, BT, Angel. So I just kept going as long as the pace was still there relative to them. I thought Becky and S King were going to be a bridge too far, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the strategy in my mind.
Well, an amazing drive. Just what I expect from what I call the leader of the Pirates.
Yes, sir.
Stars, you have any questions for our third place finisher here this evening?
Look, I was actually going to ask the exact same question you were going to ask, or that you did ask right at the end there regarding the hard medium. I personally believed I thought it was the optimal strategy, but you went against that, and I think it worked. Obviously, you're very quick on the soft tires alone, and then obviously your pace level or skill level as well, blitzing through. The only question I do have is, at any point were you a little bit concerned? Were you like, oh, this like these I think it was third, fourth, and fifth were battling. You know, you had Yama, you had BTFU in there. You know, at any point were you a little bit concerned? You're thinking, oh, I might be able to catch these guys, but the DRS train round here is as big. You know, it's huge, and you know that. Was there anything that went through your mind, or did you just keep it nice and composed for the whole time?
Sir, no, I see what you're saying. Just for me, if I put on the mediums, I was going to have a harder time trying to make overtakes. If I'm on the soft, I have that tire delta that I can use for overtakes, and that's so important, especially like you say with the DRS trains. The way you get through that is to have a tire delta, to have a tire advantage on people. If I put on the medium, it makes it harder for me to make those passes. When I got to that DRS train, in my mind is I had to pick my moment the way I did. I saw them go side by side into four, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, this is my opportunity. This is how I get 2-1 right here. And I just that's why I had those softs, so I could do that, so I could take advantage of those opportunities. That's my mind.
Yeah,
I always
yeah,
love a tire delta. I always do.
yeah. I mean, I think we all do. It makes the game a lot more enjoyable. I must say, it was great being on board with you into that turn four there. Obviously, traction and obviously being able to turn the car a lot easier there. You just went right underneath them. Obviously, there was a little bit of contact, not by your end there, but you did get the move done. And honestly, amazing drive. You know, last to third, amazing. You should be very proud of yourself. Well done today.
Thank you, guys. I definitely appreciate it. I'm glad to have this opportunity. Thank you, guys.
Well, that is all from the third place finisher. What a drive from somebody, if I do say so myself. Unfortunately, we don't have S King there in the cooldown room, but we do have Mr. 2 of 2, Mr. Becky B, 2 from 2 race wins, mate. How are you feeling after that one? You must be absolutely chuffed. What a performance today. Just
Yeah,
unbelievable drive.
I feel amazing. That was such a great drive. So much fun. I think that's definitely got to be one of my best drives in league racing so far. And happy to get 2 in a row for the team.
Yes, and Yama actually as well, your teammate there, coming home, I believe it was 4th position as well. So a very, very strong outing for Williams in this event. But just run us through your race. You know, you get, pipped at the end of qualifying by S King for that pole position. You're lining up on that second row. And even after the pit stops, I believe you got undercut by about a second, I do believe, from the Chilean in that AlphaTauri. So just run us through your race and just how, what was your mindset for this race? Because it wasn't quite as simple as the one last week, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So my plan was, just to look after the tires. That was my, I plan all along. I knew if I did that, I had a good chance to win. And it turns out at the end, that's kind of I'm pretty sure that's what happened because it looked like S King's tires fell off at the end and I was able to cruise home. But at the beginning of the race, I got off to an all right start, but then got jumped by 2 people and fell to 4th. And I was pretty comfortable sitting there until I overtook Angel, I think it was. And I was comfortable just sitting behind S King, saving ERS, saving tires until it was my turn to pit. And then after that, I just put the hammer down and, things kind of just fell into place for me. Was able to look after the tires and bring it home.
Yeah, we also saw you got involved with a bit of traffic there as well, especially after that stop. Just run us through, how it was those first few laps after you put on that hard set of tires. You see, your competitors in front of you. I do believe at the time that would have been both Angel and S King. Pull ahead of you, pull into that pitch just that one lap before you did yourself. They went for that undercut, and they came out in a fair bit of traffic there as well. But just run us through what it was like, just those first few laps on the hards, just trying to close that gap down to S King.
I felt really comfortable. I'd done a lot of long run practice on the hards leading up, so I felt really comfortable with my setup with the hard tire. It was definitely built for that, and so I felt really comfortable being able to push and close up to him pretty quickly. and especially with the traffic did help a little bit, and thankfully I didn't get held up too bad by it. So yeah, it definitely worked out well, and I felt really, really comfortable in the car and the hard tire.
Well, a great,
Look,
great
Becky,
drive.
mate, I've just. Oh, sorry, Miguel. Becky, I've just got a quick question for you, mate. I was just having to think about it. When you were in the lead because you overtook Esking. Esking was just conserving. He was conserving everything. He had pretty much double the ERS that you had. He wasn't. He was being very careful through traction zones. He was in lean most of the time. You were using a little bit more. I could see through your fuel mix and your ERS deployment. When was there any time through your head where you're like, he's just conserving now and he's going to mount an attack on these last couple of laps and my ERS isn't up to speed with him? Were you concerned? And then my follow-up question to that was, when he did make his mistake, did it go through your mind, this is it, push, give it everything you have right now, build this gap, and then you'll be able to hold it? Or did you just compose yourself and just go, right, I've got the pace, he's nearly crashed, he's made a massive mistake, I'm just going to relax now and just bring the car home?
Right. So you basically hit it nail on the head. When I knew what his ERS was. I had, two race engineers, me and Yama both. We knew exactly what our competitors were doing. I knew that it was not a good situation for me at the time. And I was just, trying to stay off the ERS as much as I could. And when I did use it, it was only on the back straight and on the pit straight. And I was, bouncing between standard and rich for most of the end of that race because I had lots of fuel to play with. So I was just, keeping track of my tires, trying to keep them at bay. And, thankfully, I think tire wear, came up and bit him and he had a half spin there. And after that, I put the hammer down and knew I had the pace. And up until the last couple laps, I was pushing pretty hard because I knew that if I was able to build a gap, there was no chance he was going to catch me. And even if he did, he was going to have to battle Cody, some idiot coming through. So
Yeah, yeah, 100% there, mate. And honestly, you got the gap. I think it was it went to 2.2 seconds, and it stayed at like roughly that 1.8 up until those last couple of laps. So amazing drove today. You should be very proud. 2 from 2. Congratulations. Look forward to seeing you next week. Anyway, that's from me.
Yeah, just one more from me. 3 for 3 next week, Vietnam. How are we feeling heading into the streets of Hanoi next week, Becky?
You know, that's a great question. Haven't really done much driving around there since probably my last league race, which would have been months and months ago. And you know how much I like that track, Mick, so
Yes,
hopefully
yes, I do.
no hopefully no big incidents. And I feel confident as always, but nothing's guaranteed, and I definitely had to work for this one, and I'm sure I'm gonna have to work for that one too, so looking forward to it.
Well, that is the right attitude that we have, confident but not complacent. Thank you for your time once again, Becky, and once again, congratulations on your second win in the season, and we hope to see you up here in the weeks to come, mate.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is unfortunately all the time that we have for today. Stars, any closing remarks before we end the stream here this evening?
I just wanted to thank everyone for allowing me to give this opportunity in the commentary box, because honestly, I had the best time ever. That was an amazing race. Unbelievable driving by all drivers. Great battles on track. I can't wait for next week. It's going to be amazing, especially through the tight left-rights of Vietnam. It's going to be amazing.
It most certainly is. Well, we're going to run the outro. Firstly, just from me, a massive, massive thank you to all those who stuck around through all of the delays, all of the technical issues. You guys are why we do this. We love racing, you love racing, and we're here just to give you guys a great show week in and week out. So we really, really appreciate your support here this evening. We also want to thank our partners over at Next Level Racing, !NLR in the chat. They've got some amazing, amazing sim rigs, both from the entry level all the way up to the enthusiast level at the high end. And yeah, just a massive, massive thank you to them for supporting the Misfits Racing League. And if you're looking for a a great community of racers, join the Discord, !Discord in the chat. It's a lovely, lovely group of guys here, well, guys and girls here, that are, you know, very, very fond of racing and, you know, everything racing related, everything F1. And there's a lot of events going on, a lot of discussions, and just a great place to, you know, hang out and chill. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in that. And the last thing from me before we head over to the outro is be sure to tune in tomorrow at, I do believe it is 8 p.m. GMT, 9 p.m. in Europe, and 3 p.m. Eastern time for the Tier 2 guys to take to the Bahrain International Circuit. We've seen Tier 3, we've seen the Americas. They have both been absolutely exceptional races. You'd be mad to miss the Tier 2 guys tomorrow. So be sure to set the alarms there for that. We will be going live right here on the Misfits RL Twitch channel as usual for that one. And it is going to be an amazing, amazing race. But now we'll hit you with the outro. That's all from me. Thank you once again to everyone. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Be sure to leave a follow to support the Misfits Racing. And you can check out all of our VODs and highlights on our YouTube channel. But that's all from me. I'll now hit you with the MRL outro. And we will see you, well, Stars and I, we'll see you guys next week for the next round of the Americas, but Stryfium and Unicorn will be back tomorrow for the Tier 2 action. So we'll hope to see you then. Bye for now.